If you're a record collector and a Discogs user, you are likely familiar with the Want List feature. It's an easy way to track albums that you're looking for, and now there are some big improvements to take advantage of. I'll tell you all about it on this episode of the Discogs Insider. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest episode of the Discogs Insider. I am super excited to be here to talk about a new feature set called WANTLISTER, which is going to be an amazing new tool for record collectors just like myself and just like you. I am stoked to be here with Kevin and Lloyd from the Discogs side and with Sean from Stoat Labs. Thank you, fellas, for being here. Really appreciate you spending the time. Lloyd, why don't we start off with you, man? I want to... The first thing I want to ask, and we're going to get into how this came about, because I think there's a great story here that we want to tell. When you guys were having internal conversations about WANTLISTER, what was the conversation initially? Because as people will hear here in a moment from Sean, is this was built outside of the Discogs ecosystem. So when you guys sat down, when you learned this existed, was it sheer excitement? Was it like confusion? What was the initial conversation?
Yeah, good question. I'm someone who is really open to whatever our community is doing. And we see a lot of developers building stuff off of our API. And every time anything happens, if you put it on LinkedIn, I'm probably linking in with you. If somebody sends it to me, I'm asking, can we get them on the phone? And when I saw that, and it literally came to me from our VP of marketing as they solved it and sent it over. I was like, we got to talk to them. So I was excited. Yeah.
So then the flip question is, Sean, when you guys initially got the outreach, whether it was probably an email or something, when you saw that email, what was your initial thought? Like, oh my gosh, they're aware of us, or what was the deal?
Yeah, it was some feedback that came in through the app. So we had in-app feedback from users, because we were in a mode of kind of maximizing our learning from users, and got this inbound message, and it was from Jeffrey, the VP of marketing at Discogs, and it was a bit of a, oh no, they found us. I hope they're nice. I hope they're good guys. I hope they're not got a pack of lawyers with them to shut us down. But yeah, it was nothing like that. Jeffrey got on the phone with him, next day, I think. And he started off saying, like, look, we're super fans of what you've done here. And I was like, whew, thank goodness. Sure. That's great to hear. That's pretty awesome to hear, actually. So it started out on a great foot from Jeffrey. And then I quickly met Lloyd and Kevin, and it's been a great partnership.
That's awesome. So Kevin, we'll back up to the beginning now. You being the CEO of Discogs, like, tell me what really interested you about WANTLISTER when you saw it. Like, what was the problem it was going to solve for you guys at Discogs, at least in these early stages, as you started to think about an integration, and what does it do for the record collector?
We've been on a modernization journey for a while now, and we have a roadmap of things we want to address and either rebuild or replace with third-party tools, for example. And when we saw WANTLISTER, it did something that we planned to do. So we didn't know exactly how we were going to do this, but they solved this problem. So it was the chance to bring that in-house and delete one of the components in our system instead of having to go rebuild the whole thing. So, and I thought the way they did it was really elegant. One of the things is like reducing the number of notifications you get and making the email alerts more relevant. What WANTLISTER did was really elegant, and it just condensed it all into a nice message that has much less repetition, and you're able to fine tune all of those notifications. So, for example, with Discogs, you get one email every day that has everything. With WANTLISTER, you can really drill down and create separate emails or instant alerts based on the exact criteria you're looking for.
For me as a collector, equally as exciting. I told you guys, I've been getting that one email in my inbox a day for years, and I haven't looked at it in a long time because of, to your point, the noise. And so for me as a collector, that reduction of noise to be able to find the records I want from the right seller in the right country in the right condition at the right price. That's what this solves for me as a collector. And I think, it's what really excites me about this product. So Lloyd, coming from your point of view as a collector, and then also as someone at Discogs, like I touched on a little bit of the surface level kind of benefits, but as you think about the modernization journey you guys are on at this company, where does this kind of play into that, and where do you kind of see it headed?
Yeah. As I look at the investment in modernizing our roadmap, there's two factors. One is the financial investment in it, and then the other one is the timeline for which we can accomplish it. And this one, as Kevin pointed out, helped us accelerate our roadmap by not having to modernize this component of the platform. We have integrated WANTLISTER in. So it's that. And then the second one is the modernized user interface too. So I'm finding myself playing a lot with the filters in my want list for my shopping experience, actually, not just for the notification. So my use cases are a little more, I've got my want list in there, and then I'm making changes to the filters live. So I feel like it's delivering more relevant results in a sea of sometimes hard to find specific, like that's the one for me.
Mm-hmm.
It somehow is finding that for me every time. That's
very cool. So Sean, as you guys started building this, going back, I think you had told me you guys built this in 2023. What were, I'm going to assume some of the problems you guys were trying to solve or some of the things we're talking about. Is it really aligned nicely as far as what has come to fruition as far as now this version of it?
Yeah, it's really exactly what we set out to build. I like the description you had of the noise, right? So I was getting that same daily email as you. I hadn't been getting it for 10 years, so I wasn't ignoring it, but I was frustrated by the noise in that. I'm really into world music, for example, is one of the main genres that I like to collect and listen to. And it's, as a genre, it's full of people who aren't in the United States, and a lot of them won't ship to me, or it's extraordinarily expensive. The condition, a lot of it's older stuff and not in great condition. And so the window of what I would actually purchase compared to what I was getting every day in that email was noise. You described it. It was noisy. It was a lot of work to go through, these hundreds of things that were arriving in my email every day to say, like, is there anything in here that I would buy? Is it in good condition? Is that a good price? Is it going to ship to me without, getting out a second mortgage for shipping costs? So, that, and I said, well, hey, we're developers. We solve this kind of problem for people all day, every day. It's what we do. I can make this pain go away. That's within my realm of something that I can do. If that's possible to do, right? Is Discogs as a platform? It wasn't something I'd looked into. Is this open? Are we able to go build a solution to this problem? And so we looked at the Discogs platform and we said, wow, all the data is right here. It's open. It's available. It's well documented. We've got the APIs we need to program a solution against. So we quickly designed a solution to solve, my first three pain points, right? Which were that kind of the churn of seeing the same items over and over again. I've already decided not to buy. Seeing stuff that wasn't in a condition. I like to buy, VG Plus and above. That's all I want to see. And I want to see stuff that will ship to me, at a good price. Stuff coming out of the US. So that's the first thing we built. And within about 30 days, we had that built. And I got a notification, a digest, and I actually bought this record right here.
I love
the
it.
very first thing. So the Movers compilation. It was very first thing I ever bought. The January 11th.
That's like the dollar bill you put on your wall.
Yeah, some people put a dollar bill like that over the bar, the first dollar that the bar ever made. This is the first record ever bought. It was like 21 days into the project. I got the notification. It was something I've been looking for. It was here in the US at a great price, and I jumped on it, and we had a little celebration internally that, hey, this thing is working, and we're buying records that we like. So it was really cool. So being able to just scratch our own itch and solve our own problem because Discogs was open was all we really set out to do. We thought, maybe there's enough people who have the same problem. that we can get enough interest to just kind of keep it running and keep the lights on and not lose our shirt providing this service to the community. But it was something we did out of love for the vinyl community and to solve our own pain point.
I love that. And for people who aren't tech nerds like us, when we talk about this openness, that's basically, and Kevin, I'd love for you to talk about this because it really speaks to the ethos of the company, is just it allows outside developers to create on their own with Discogs data. Is that a poor man's version of what an API really would be?
Yeah, well, our data is free and open to use, the core user contributed data. And we also have an API to access many other types of data. And that's been around since around 2007. And actually, our iOS and Android apps were both built by third-party developers, which we brought in-house. So, people had asked for apps for years and years. We were focused on other things and didn't do it, and outsiders built apps, and so we were able to bring them in-house after that.
Well, and I love how parallel this story is with when you started the company, Kevin, because it was the same deal. Like, Sean, you were just trying to solve a problem literally for yourself. Kevin, it was the same way when we talked about how you started the company. So again, it's a thread that runs through the history of Discogs that, again, speaks to the culture and the ethos of what you guys are building and how open it is and how legitimate it is that you're trying to solve real problems because you feel the pain yourself. And that's when you want to go out and solve these types of things,
Mm-hmm.
So this is available now. That's one thing I want to make sure people know. If you've made it this far in this video, this is something you can use now. You can connect your Discogs account with WANTLISTER and automatically start configuring this and setting these filters so that you'll get better, more catered, more curated notifications, emails, whatever it may be. It's available on desktop. It's available on mobile web. And then future state, Lloyd, if you want to talk a little bit as we start thinking about, down the road, because that's what everyone wants to know is where are things headed? Like, where do you kind of see this playing into that modernization story?
I see this as its own product, just kind of moving along. And the more it's used, the more feedback that we get, the more that gets integrated into the actual product, the faster it'll be then integrated into the platform. And so this is just one of many innovative products that we want to increase in the collector tool set. Right, this one's very buyer specific, and it's meant to do a very specific job. And right now, for all of us who are using it, that it's doing the job, and it's doing really well. So I see us just continuing to build it out and staying focused on making it a really great that tool. I don't have a better word for it. Set of filters or tools. For collecting. Yeah.
Makes sense. Kevin, did you want to actually pull it up and kind of show us a little bit, at least on the desktop experience? You can share your screen and walk people through some of the filtering options and how you can drill down in such a more unique fashion than what the previous one had no filtering options before. So go ahead and talk us through a little demo here if you'd like.
All right, so we're looking at a release here. This was one of my grails from last year. I have it now, but so there's currently none for sale.
I was gonna say that's good because there's none for sale. So
yeah. So let's see. I'll go. I'll put it in my want list. All right, it's in. I'll go to WANTLISTER. So here we are. We're looking at my want list via WANTLISTER. We're on wantlister.discogs.com. And the release I just added, there's none for sale, so we're not going to see it in here. But
that's right. Yeah.
So I already have 2 saved filters. I can go ahead and make a new one. So I hit that filter button and then go down here and I just search for that release. So you can put a list of releases in here, like the grails you're looking for. So I'll just put the title. There it is. So now I select that.
So you're setting up a targeted notification for that specific release.
Yeah, I'm setting up a filter for that release, that specific release. And as you see, there's no results over here. So I'm only going to save that one. And then I would turn on real-time notifications for it and a daily digest. And I'm just going to call it the title of the release, Here and Now.
So the real-time notifications, that's key because that's completely new. Prior to WANTLISTER, you got the daily digest only. But now, and correct me if I'm wrong, when a seller has this record and he lists it, you're going to get a real-time notification that is now available if it meets your criteria.
Exactly. Before, you would have to wait for the daily email, which you could be at a disadvantage depending on what time zone you're in.
Yes.
Yeah. So now it's real time. So
actually,
no
go to the top if you don't mind, and just go through each one. As far as I think location's key, the grading is key, all that stuff. Number of ratings.
You would choose the seller's country, and you can select multiple.
So to Sean's point, if you don't want to even be presented with albums that are outside, let's say, your home country, because you don't want to deal with international shipping, then you just put your country in. That's a huge thing right there.
Exactly. Yeah. You can set the minimum seller rating here from 90% up to 100%.
Okay.
I'll just
and the seller ratings, basically, that's how good a seller is. Basically, you're saying if they've got a 50% rating, you don't even want them to show up at all. You guys don't even go below 90. So you got to be a pretty good seller to show up in these filters.
Right. So these two settings let you restrict the notifications to certain sellers, either their overall their overall rating, which is a percentage, or the number of feedbacks that they have.
The sheer number. Okay. So two different variables there.
Yeah, and then with these two, you can restrict it to the condition of the item, either the media or the sleeve. So, for example,
something like that. Like thinking as a collector, most of the time I'm buying VG Plus. Just like everyone else, I want to VG Plus and up. But on a real rarity like the one you just showed, which there's none available, I might go a little lower, just knowing, hey, if a G Plus or VG copy shows up, I still want to be notified of it just in case, because it might be a really good price. So that's, again, those levers that you have now to move as a collector, so valuable.
Exactly.
I'll add a tip on this one too that I've been finding, Kevin, is if it's a real rare record, you might actually want to take the number of reviews all the way down to 0, because not always is a rare record going to be from someone who's selling a lot. It might be somebody who's just selling ones and twos around. So I've been playing around. I've been popping it down to 0 for the rare ones, and then for things that are just filling out my collection, I move it back up.
Good tip.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, keep going, Kevin. Walk us through the rest of the filters that are
down more. Okay, so maximum price. Okay, so say this record, I'm willing to pay up to $100. I would just plug that in here. And then you can also filter by formats. So maybe you only want vinyl.
Yep.
So now this doesn't make much sense because that release is vinyl. But if I wasn't targeting a specific release, I would just see only vinyl here. Same thing with artists.
And
you only want a specific artist from your want list. You can do that and create a new alert for that, or real-time notifications.
So much usability. Again, just thinking pre WANTLISTER, where it was like, yes, I want to digest, and that was it. And so, yeah, this is really cool, Sean.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Point here, one thing subtle is this is all filtering Kevin's want list, right? So this isn't a filter of the whole marketplace, right? But these are slicing and dicing of the stuff that Kevin's already selected in his want list as the things that he cares about and wants and doesn't have in his collection already.
Well, we've gone from where Discogs had just one email, which had everything, to now I can get any number of emails and real-time alerts based on any combination of criteria I can think up.
Yeah, this is great. Thanks for sharing and walking through that quick demo. I think giving people the visual a little bit will really make it come together. I mean, for me, you said something key earlier, Kevin, when you said, people in a different time zone may miss out. Like I've had that happen plenty of times where I would get the Daily Digest, which comes to me, mid-afternoon Central Time here in Dallas. And the fact is, people got it a couple hours before me. So I would click on a record and it would already be gone. Oh man, that's, you know what I mean? And there's no way for me to know unless I'm going in and searching through every single day and doing that work, which is a lot of work, especially if you have a big one list. So I think it saves records collectors time. I kind of, it makes everything more efficient, brings down the level of frustration like that was for me to click on that and then it not be available. I mean, it's like walking into a virtual record store and having the new arrivals bin completely curated for me. Like that's kind of how I see it on a daily or even real-time basis. So it's a super exciting thing.
We actually built the real-time feature just so that I could own a copy of this album. I wanted the Walter Mitty soundtrack. There's not many of these in the world. I'd seen one or two sell on Discogs and missed out on them. And it's the very first thing I ever bought. The very first real-time notification I ever got was for this record.
That's the real-time one.
The real-time. And it was too expensive. It was a crazy amount of money. But I left that alert in place. And lo and behold, a month later, the real-time notice came through. It was much more reasonably priced. I jumped on it. Now I own the copy of this record that I never thought I'd get to own. So it's really awesome.
I just love the mentality of developers. You're like, damn it. All right, I'm just building this. I'm just going to build this so I can get this record. I mean, it's essentially what you did, which is a beautiful thing.
That's what I did.
And then
we all silly, but that's what I did.
It is, but we all get to benefit from it now, which is the really cool thing. And I think that's, again, as you guys continue to innovate as a team now, it's super exciting for me to be able to watch you roll this stuff out and continue that modernization journey, which Lloyd, you keep kind of referring to. I'm so excited that this is one of the first things that you guys have really rolled out, because this is one of the ones that's going to help people acquire those records that they've been hunting for, So it's one that I feel so tangible for a collector like myself, because there's a return on that investment, and it's going to, you're going to get to drop the needle on it. Like that's a big thing, it's going to make your life a little easier and all that, but in the end, it's going to allow you to get the records that you really want. And I think that's what people will really appreciate about this.
We really started out to build, to solve 3 pain points. Churn was the label we gave that kind of relisting, and seeing the same record you've already decided not to buy, seeing it again and again, day after day and week after week. That contributes a lot to the noise. And then condition, and stuff that wouldn't ship to me, right? And that we started with just that subset of features, and then we added on stuff like price and the real-time notifications and things like that. But just getting some of those basics.
And Sean, congrats to you from building this, on your own, full circle. Now you're within the Discogs ecosystem, bringing this to collectors to solve a real problem. And I think that's just a huge testament to you and your team and the Discogs team for recognizing the opportunity here and creating a partnership that would fast track this. And like you said, Lloyd, kind of get it off the roadmap, so it was already built, it was already there. So it was a very forward thinking of the Discogs team to be able to do that. It's super exciting. I think a lot of people will be excited to start playing with this and get more notifications. That are just so much more targeted and meaningful, which is what we all need these days. When we're looking at our phone and the amount of noise that's there in general. So I'm excited about it, and I really appreciate you guys cueing me in early. I've been playing with it for a little while, and I know everyone else, now that they have full access to it, it's gonna enjoy getting to have less noise in their record collector journey on a daily basis at this point. So appreciate you guys being here, and we'll certainly do a follow-up, I'm sure, down the road when there's even more integration and WANTLISTER continues to grow within the ecosystem. So thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate the time.
Yeah,
awesome. Thanks. Glad to be here.
Appreciate it.